Greetings, everybody. 12 Faces of Sober Speaks podcast. This is episode 78. I am your host, Kenneth L. Watson Jr. Jay should be coming in here in a minute. What's up, bro? How you doing? I thought you was coming up to Minnesota, man. I thought you was going to be on 94. I'm 35 coming north. You know what I'm saying? What's good with you, bro? Nico, what's good, bruh? So yes, my guest is Jay. I actually met Jay through Nico. Nico was on a previous podcast episode, and he recommended that I get in contact with brother Jay. So like I said, tonight we're gonna have a good conversation like always. Oh yeah, it's cold. It's cold here, man. It was like, I think today was like 20, I think like 22 or something like that. But yeah, it was cold. I'm over this junk, man. I ain't even gonna lie. But yeah, man. I hope all is well with you, Nico, down in New Mexico. You know what I'm saying? All right, let me go ahead and bring Jay in. Work. What's going on, bro? How you doing?
Good. I'm good. Blessed. How you feeling?
Man, I'm good, man. Like I was just telling my bro, he lived down in Iowa, how cold it is, man. It's cold here. It's cold in Iowa. I went outside a little while ago and it was like probably 20, man, but that wind slapped you in the face. It ain't nothing to play with. You know what I'm saying? How you doing though?
Man, blessed. Weather's not too bad. I'm in a good mindset. We've been productive. It's been a good day. Tapped in with my accountability partner. Just good day, man. We being productive. I'm excited for this.
What's up?
Yeah.
Man, yeah, man. I appreciate you taking time out your busy schedule and everything to jump onto the podcast. You know, like I said, we not gonna waste no time. We're gonna go ahead and jump right into the interview. Well, before I do that, anybody that's looking at the podcast tonight, I only have it in front of me, but I have actual physical copies of 12 Faces of Sober. All you gotta do is hit me in the DM. The books are 12. Not for sure how much the shipping will be. I do 2 to 3 day priority mail, so you'll probably get it by the middle of next week. So all you gotta do is just shoot me a DM, and I'll make sure to go ahead and put that in the mail. Hey, Kim, what's going on? That's the homie from like junior high and high school. You know what I'm saying? So big shouts out to her out in San Diego. But yeah. So let's start with where you from. Talk about the background. Where you grew up. How things was for you. On the home front.
You want the full life story? I love it. Bro. I love
Yes,
it.
sir.
I was born in Texas. I moved to Columbia, Missouri, which is the middle of the map, middle of Missouri, like middle of the United States, right? Columbia, Missouri, been there for 20 plus years, man. Growing up, dad was in and out of prison. Mom did the best she could, right? Best she could at the time that she had with the knowledge that she had. So with that being said, with father not being around, not really having a lot of love, it went for me to go seek that other places, and that led down my journey to alcohol and drugs. Yep.
Okay. So when did you actually experience or get your first taste of drugs and alcohol?
14. That's 14, man. Yeah.
Okay. Now, was that something you said you were raised in a single parent home. Did any of your family members, uncles, older brother, younger brother, any of your family members that was like, in the game that you may have witnessed that? Because I noticed that like a lot of my interviews is that it's more or less of like they witnessed it growing up. So how was that for you?
Yeah, so it was around, but not in the house, right? It wasn't in the house. Like I got 4 sisters, no brothers, so it wasn't like I was trying to be hard for nobody. It was just, we were so independent growing up. Like my older sister took care of me until my little sister came and I took care of her, right? Mom worked overnights at the factory, so she needed her sleep. But it was the homies that I went to school with, that I was around, that I wanted to influence. Like naturally, I just wanted to influence So what do? We do the things that they want us to do in order to gain influence and be accepted. So like I said, I went to go search for love outside of my home perspective when I didn't feel like I was getting it. So it wasn't so much of witnessing and wanting to be a part of it. I wanted to be a part of a group that loved and adored me, but I felt like I had to do the things that the group was doing, and I couldn't be me.
Fit in, basically. Fit in with the group. So seeing that you were already, you experiment at a young age, was there anybody within the family that was telling you, like, or noticed that you're experimenting, maybe you're coming home intoxicated, maybe coming home high? Like, how was that? Like, was there anybody that was like educating you on the do's and don'ts of, using?
Yeah. For anybody watching this, drop a 1 in the comments if you've ever felt that feeling of just trying to fit in. You know what I mean? I just want to go back to that because that's real, bro. A lot of people find themselves in that position where they're just trying to fit in, right? And we take ourselves to the extreme of doing that. When it came to coming home, it was like, yeah, you're like, we know that you're not in the right state of mind, so we're going to ground you, right? So we're going to ground you. And so I wouldn't be able to go outside for a week, a month, or something like that. But I at the time, I was playing football. I was doing well in school. I had this double-sided personality. Shout out to my Geminis watching, right? I had this double-sided personality that I was living everything that I said I was going to do. I was going to do it. I did it. And then I was trying to fit in with everybody else on this other side. So I was finding myself in situations that didn't serve who I was meant to be.
Now you mentioned something about fitting in. Now, did you find yourself misbehaving? Did you find yourself getting into that trouble of, like you said, you want to fit in, and now you gotta maybe maintain an image?
And so that's the thing. There wasn't no trouble. My mouthpiece, man. I'm naturally gifted. So I was a class clown. People,
okay.
Man, I love Jay, man. I love Jay, right? And when I'm naturally being me, people rock with me. I'm charismatic, right? But when I try to go fit in, right, I get taken away and out of my character of who I am, right? And so it wasn't so much of trying to like protect this image that I find myself in trouble for talking, for anything that would get me attention, for people to be like, I want to be around him, or allow me to go and be in the group that they're in so I can talk about the trouble I got myself into. Does that make sense?
Oh, wow. Yeah, it does. I don't know for anybody else, but I get it. I get it for sure. Now, at any point, like when you were like in high school and you're experimenting, trying these things, would you consider at that point it being a problem, or was it like maybe later on in life where it was like, okay, yeah, this is starting to get a little bit out of control?
It was definitely later on in life, man. I at high school, like I was focused. I wish that I actually stayed the kid I was in high school. Because later in life, that's when we had to fit in and try and maintain the image. That's when we stopped. That's when we went left when we should have went right. That's when I got around the wrong people again, right? And it wasn't even like in high school, I wasn't even around the wrong people. I was just doing dumb stuff. And it was just, just doing dumb stuff. It wasn't like I was drinking and skipping school or smoke. Like I played football. I couldn't do that. I had coaches on me. I had people looking up to me. So I had responsibilities in high school. It wasn't until I started making a whole bunch of money in the car business where I was like, oh, I can buy my way out of this. We all right. Because I can make money. I can sell anything. I promise you that. From drugs to metal, I can sell. But it's the fact that I was 20 years old, making $100,000 a year, hanging around some college kids with me not going to college. I dropped out of college and trying to impress people that had no business trying to impress.
Wow. Now, would you consider that like yourself as far as like an identity thing? Because it's like, instead of necessarily like pleasing yourself, it seems like you were more so pleasing others by the status of, like you said, you're making money. You're basically in a different tax bracket over your peers. You know what I'm saying? Because I know when I was in college in the early 2000s, it wasn't nobody. She was doing something else. You know what I'm saying? So this wasn't somebody that I was like, oh, okay, I'm associating myself with, because those people just wasn't around in my circle. So how was that for you?
So it wasn't so much of an identity thing.
Mm-hmm.
I knew who I was, and I knew what I was gifted at, and I knew how to leverage that in order to make income, in order to make people like me. It was a validation and exclusivity thing. Like, I wanted people to want to be around me, and I want people to feel like I'm the guy to be around. So I show up to the clubs in suits, buying bottle service, hanging out with, just all the dumb stuff, just spending money how I shouldn't have been spending it, right? And the fact is that I wanted to be validated by somebody else. So yeah, it was trying to fit in, but it was validation. And one of my driving emotions to this, like, I know me, I'm so I'm an emotional intelligence practitioner. It's the fact that my driving emotion is validation and compliments, of course, of the accomplishments that I've achieved. And that's been like that ever since I was a kid, since I played football, since I was in high school, since I sold cars. Now, since that I'm coaching and training some of the most influential people around the world, it's the fact that I do it because I want to feel good, and I want people to feel good around me, right? But that was altered through alcoholism, and there was no clarity. And so I did it for all the wrong reasons, and it turned into this, I need people around me, versus if you rock with me, you rock with me. Does that make sense? I'm trying to, I feel like it's the fact that I needed people to tell me I was that dude versus me telling me I was that dude.
Because you already knew. you already knew. You know what I'm saying? You was just adding to it. You know what I'm saying? That's what it sounds like to me. Now, so when did it actually get to a point where it was a problem?
It's my question, man. I love this one. I would, like I said, I made a lot of money as a young kid doing dumb stuff, and I would find myself waking up in jail. I would just wake up in jail, but I was fortunate enough to just bond out. Call it. Oh, Jay, yeah, your money's good. Boom, I come get you. Man, you got to get this drinking under control. I'm getting there. To the point I got 2 DWIs. Lost my license for 7 years, and I kept my job, which is a blessing. Right, selling cars with no license, gifted. And the fact that I was able to maintain that, I didn't stop drinking throughout when I got my DWI. So it was just a downward spiral. So one day I woke up in jail and they wouldn't let me bond out. There was no bond.
Damn. So even with all those legal troubles, you still found yourself still doing the same things. So was there any type of lesson that you had learned, or you felt, okay, I'll take that back? All those times that you were able to bond out, what was the thought process when they said, nah, you can't go?
Did I kill somebody? Why not? And I wasn't thinking, but all these thoughts started rushing through my head because I don't remember why I was there, how I got there, or what they even picked me up for. So the first question when I woke up was, what's my bond? It's a cycle. It's not even what did I do? How did I get here? It's what's my bond? That's all I want to know. How can I get out? No bond. What do you mean? What I do? I had blood on my shirt. I had blood in my mouth. I pressed the button again. What's the charges? It's a probation violation. Cool. At least I knew what I did. It's something that all right, I'm going away for 11 years. Luckily, I didn't have to go away for 11 years. But it's the fact that I didn't know what I did the night before. It could have been to the extreme of where I killed somebody and didn't even remember it. And that really set in for me during those 6 months I was in prison.
Damn. Now, so what was your thought process? You said you had to sit down for 6 months.
Hmm.
So what was running through your mind during that time?
My decisions and my actions got me to this place.
Mm,
None of my friends that I was with in the clubs, none of my family members, not my mama, not my daddy, not my sisters, no matter how terrible it was growing up, no matter what kind of luck I had, no matter the type of traumas, when I was being beaten as a child, my actions and my decisions made the state of Missouri say, Julian Chase, you're guilty.
mm, interesting. Now, how was it as far as your family? Did your family like notice, okay, you're getting into too much
Oh, yeah.
trouble?
Oh, yeah.
What was there any like time where they was like, okay, yeah, you need to change the way you moving?
What's the golden rule? You can only help somebody who wants to be helped.
Mm, okay.
100%. No matter how much they loved me, I couldn't receive love. I wasn't giving it to
Okay.
myself. No
Mm,
matter how much they wanted to help, I didn't want to help myself.
mm,
There's only 4 reasons why people change, right? They hurt enough, they have to. They're inspired enough they see enough, they're inspired to, right? Or they learn enough, they choose to, or they receive enough, they're able to. And I was at the point where I heard enough, I had to change. It wasn't from the help or what anybody heeded in the warnings. And during those 6 months, I didn't reach out to anybody. I didn't reach out to my family. I didn't reach out to any friends or any. I didn't call nobody. I worked on me.
mm.
I sat and dealt with me, because none of them. Only thing they did was love me at the time that I was
Mm,
making all these decisions.
okay.
It didn't. They didn't read their names in court. They read mine.
Mm,
Did you? And I pled guilty. So
mm,
that proves to me my actions, my decision.
okay.
Intoxicated or not, I just know that I got to be in control of my thoughts from here on
Okay.
out.
And then so during that time that you had a chance to really, reevaluate, um, life in general, just you know what I'm saying? Did you have a plan once you were getting out? Like, was there, you know, like what was there, did you have to go to a halfway house, stuff like that? So, because like I said, some people were like, okay, look, freedom, and they don't have a plan, and then a couple weeks or something may make a mistake and go back. So, what was that plan for you?
It was 30 days at a halfway house, 18 months of drug court, and 5 years of probation,
Mm,
or 11 years in prison.
mm,
It was life or death for me. It,
okay.
it, it was alcohol or freedom.
Mm,
And so I did what I had to do. Thank God, blessed. I walked it all down and got it completed 2.5 years early.
mm, mm. I like I like that comment. Alcohol or freedom. I'm writing this down because
Mm-hmm.
I gotta take the notes.
Uh,
Now, I like that
Quote
because
me.
of the fact that
Quote me.
the because that was truly me. This, on this last journey, it was when I came back to Minnesota in November 2016. It was like you're like one bad drive away from doing some serious time, and you're not going to continue to get these chances. And I'm not gonna lie, I've worked for the maximum state prison here in Minnesota, in '04. I've been to jail downtown Phoenix, and I've seen it from both sides. And, I knew that when I worked in the prison, I said there's no way in all hell that I want to see myself in this building. And then 4 years later, I'm in jail, and then once I realized that, I still didn't learn. I got arrested again when I was in the Army. And I think once I got sober and realized, okay, man, I caught a lot of breaks. And there's people out here that didn't get those breaks, that don't have their freedom, that made the same choices that you and I made, but we're out here able to speak about it, and they speak behind, from behind the walls. And so I think that that statement was really, really, important, at least to me, because it's the truth. You know what I'm saying? Ladies and gentlemen, if you continue to drink and start doing, making those poor choices, you won't have your freedom. It won't be no mommy wine culture. It's not going to be any of that type of stuff. It's going to be, okay, you're going to start losing things. I mean, I lost a lot from drinking. I'm pretty sure that you did when you was out there. And it's good to be able to say, okay, I'm choosing freedom. Now, let me ask you this: was when you got out, was that like your final everything, or was there, what I'm saying, was there a relapse to it? Was that a part of your plan to be abstinence from any substances, or was it like, okay, I'm gonna do the whatever probation period and then go back and do my thing?
I mean, we always, in the beginning, we always are more emotionally attached to the person we used to be versus being emotionally attached to the person that we're becoming. Always in the beginning, right? Luckily, I did 6 months by myself, and I desire to change.
Okay.
And but when I got out, my only plan was, bro, we about to go get this freedom. You ain't gonna lock me up and give me a number ever again. I have a name, 100%, bro. I got a name. I'm not 554, 618 anymore. I'm not. And so it would do whatever I need to do to get free. And if that means don't drink, cool. That's what it is. Now, did I have to stop hanging around the same people that I hung around? Yeah. That's if I want to change myself, I have to change my environment, my people, places, and things, right? Because if I change myself and not my environment, growth will be slow and difficult.
I like that. And the interesting thing about that is when I actually had got sober, I remember being invited to gatherings where it was just straight alcohol. And I'm like, now, if you guys want to do this whole entire function without alcohol, I'll be the first one to go. But because I know that this is the sole purpose of this gathering is going to be alcohol, I think I might have been like the first maybe 2 months out of rehab. And I was like, nah, and the female who had invited me was like, oh, you think you too good to go? I don't think I was too good. It was just that I'm fresh out of rehab. Like, I failed at rehab other times. I relapsed. Like, literally the day I got out of rehab in '08, I went straight to the liquor store. Shout out to my nephew because he took me. But I mean, but seriously, like, people don't really think about that. And it's like you said, it is the people, places, and things, because I had to leave Phoenix. I think if I would have stayed in Phoenix, I would still be out there. You know what I'm saying? If not locked up in Tent City out there in Phoenix. You know what I'm saying? Because of the fact that I had to get out of that environment. My ex-wife, she lived out there. Her family lived out there, her friends. So it was like, okay, why am I still here? And even though my brother lives in Phoenix, but for me, it was like, I don't have anybody. So I came back to family. You know what I'm saying? The real friends that got my back, that know, like, okay, this guy is not the coolest person when he's drunk. But now that he's sober, let's see what he's talking about. And so, but yeah, that was definitely important. Now, let me see. Like, when was your actual sober date?
February 5th, 2017. Yeah.
Okay. You said February. Say it again.
February 5th, 2017.
February 5th. Okay, so you just had an anniversary. That's what's up. 5 years, right?
6. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, my math is off today.
Hey,
but congratulations. Congratulations on that. You know what I'm saying? That is definitely a big accomplishment. You know what I'm saying? It's always.
Let me just say this about the environment. The fact is, because some people may be like, I can't change my environment. My spouse is still drinking and I'm not drinking. Or this is happening and that is happening. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I say that if you change yourself and not your environment, growth will be difficult and slow. I didn't say it's not accomplishable. I didn't say you can't do it. I didn't say that it's not going to happen. I said it's going to be difficult and slow. If you and even if you change your environment but not yourself, growth will be difficult and slow. Like it will be vice versa. But that's why I say, in order to expedite your growth, you have to change your environment and yourself. Growth will be fast and successful.
Yeah, because
it's not going to be easy ever. It will never be easy.
Right. That is true. Because like I said, man, I got out of rehab up here this last time, and I went, like, it's a small city called St. Cloud. And I knew that it wasn't nothing going on. I knew that everybody that I went to undergrad with from 01 to 03 no longer lives in the city. So it was like, oh, I can easily do this. But I also knew that I can get in the car and drive an hour and go spend time with my family. So you're right. I mean, you still got to, change the things within yourself. You know what I'm saying? In order, regardless of, even if you do stay in the same city. And I like you brought up this point. It's, for me, it's difficult, like for the person that I'm dating to actually still be drinking. I know there are some people who are comfortable, that are okay with that, but I think that's the hardest thing. And I say that with true conviction, because I guess I had to take that power back. It was like, females early in the game would come over, and I'm like, nah, I'm sorry. You got alcohol with you? Yeah, you got to leave. And they were like, what you mean? Nah, you got to go, because this is not the type of environment that I want in my home. Now, you can go do that somewhere else, but you just can't do it here. You know what I'm saying?
Well, 100%, 100%. And I think that starts with clear and upfront expectations. Dog, communication's key. Because even if we would have communicated the type of environment that we want to cultivate in our home, we could have communicated that off the top, and we wouldn't even have had that conversation or known that if at the door. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it kind of hard to?
No, I can hear you. I can hear you perfectly fine.
I don't know. Can you hear me better now?
It's about the same.
It's about the same. Okay, cool. But even with that, it's clear and upfront expectations of what you want and how you want to live your life and what you want to cultivate around you.
Right. That is true. Very true. So now, so they got you. They got you on papers, right? So you kind of gotta play the state's game in terms of trying to stay clear of any type of troubles. So what did you get yourself like involved in early? Once you did actually get sober, like what were some of the things that kind of kept you busy?
Yeah, man. If you go to prison and you want to change, you come out of prison, you feeling like you feel a lot of shame and guilt. One, because you just, shame is that feeling of that you did something, and guilt's that feeling that, yo, I did that, like I'm responsible for that, right? And you have a lot of shame and guilt. So when I got out of prison, I just wanted to be a good person. The only thing that I dove into was personal development. I didn't have no programs. I didn't have the IG community, which I'm extremely grateful for, and especially to be a part of. And people even see me as a leader in that. And we're all leaders in the IG community. But it's the fact that I literally have personal development and an unwavering desire to just be a good person. So I started reading books, man. I read philosophers' books, like Martin Buber, Good versus Evil, The Four Agreements, The Spiritual Practice of People with Good Habits. Like, I just wanted to be like, I really, I got obsessed with just being a good person, dude. And then I started implementing that. And then that's all I focused on. That's all. I just wanted to be a good person. And when I read The Four Agreements, when I got out of prison, dog, like, I clung to those principles, and then I started implementing. And that's what I think's wrong with, like, all the inspiration and information that is available on the internet. Like, that's amazing. Go do your thing. Get all the information and inspiration that you want. But if you don't implement, if you don't take one book and literally see if it works, why are you reading the second one? Why are you reading the third one? Why are you reading the fourth one? Right? You're just going to take this information and hoard it up and not use it. So I got the 4 agreements, and those are still agreements that I choose to live by today, and how I govern myself, and how I build my leadership on. So I dove into personal development after prison.
That's what's up. Now, now, so how is it for you, in a public setting? You know, obviously, you can't control if you go to a function and and someone, you know, offers you a beverage. Hey, what's good, Wilson? That's my dude from the Army. What's good, bro? He out in Florida. So how is that for you? Like when, like, I guess the explanation side of sobriety, like when you're going to these like barbecues or family reunion or something, and they got it all on deck, and then they may not know that, you know, you're living a different life, or even if you are, and they still try to get you to indulge. So how is that for
I,
you?
I don't gotta explain nothing to nobody. I love it. I love it, and that's the beautiful thing about it. I developed that mindset of that. Yo, this is my life. You know what I mean? Like I said, my decisions got me to where I was in prison. My decisions gonna dictate how far I go in life,
Um,
and how I lead myself, right? And so, when that did come up at family functions, going out, I would have such a good time. Like I love people, man. I love people. I'm always around people. I put people first. I enjoy the experience. I'm emotional. Like I'm a highly emotional creature. Like I'm super connected, and like my superpower is connecting with people. So I'll have such a good time out. Like I used to still go to the bars when I was 6 months in sober. Like I'd still go out. I'd still go. It wasn't until like an incident happened to where I came up with a false positive on one of my drug tests for probation, that I was like, well, I got to pump the brakes on hanging out with the same people, because that's secondhand smoke getting in me, and I'm not smoking. That's me risking my freedom. So it was more of, people would ask me, yo, what are you drinking? Let me buy you a drink, bro. I'm sober. You sober, bro? You kicking it, yo. I'm having a good time. I love life. And I led with that. I led with that. I led with that. And I didn't have to explain anything to anybody, right?
mm. Yeah, so that's I guess for me it was, I think I went out once. I went out maybe within the first 6 months, and it was difficult only because of my past and the fact of like how many times of like getting sober and being successful at it. So this was like, okay, I'm taking it a little bit more serious. But a buddy of mine, he really wanted to go out. And I said, okay, I've never been a designated driver. So I said, you know what, I'll go on ahead and do it, until I started to see how he acted. And I was just like, damn, was I really like this? Was I, you know what I'm saying, going up to every single female intoxicated trying to talk to him?
Mm-hmm.
Or was I that, you know, that angry, aggressive person? You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of like where, you know, what I was watching, and I was like, man, I'm just glad that I no longer drink. But I knew that I wasn't gonna make it a point where if somebody calls me every Friday that I'm gonna be hitting the bar, because that's just, you know, a type of environment that I just, you know, plus too, I'm older, man. I got sober at like 37, 38. So my clubbing days is long gone, as far as like, you know, for me. But if you still do it, more power to you. I just retired early. You know what I'm saying? But for those that may be less weak, you know, avoid it. If you know you're gonna have the temptations, you don't need to be in those type of environments, because of the fact that, because I know for me, I early, it was a smell. The smell of it was like, okay, I know that, yeah. So I just had to be like, nah, let me just step away from it. But now let me ask you this. Um, so when, like, you've been sober since 2017. Now, when did you stumble upon the sober community?
2021.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Now, did you find yourself before that, like kind of just like, you know, just kind of surfing, but not necessarily like being active? Or as soon as you got in the community, you was already just, you know what I mean, interacting with people? Because I know I was watching. I was like, let me just see what people post first before I do anything.
Yeah, man. I truly believe that we have to know We have to know ourselves in order to grow ourselves. And that starts with knowing who we are and what type of person we are.
Mm-hmm.
Because typically within the type of person we are is our natural superpower. And you remember what I said earlier? I said connecting is my superpower. That's what I do naturally. I sold cars for 9.5 years. Make a connection, sell a car. That was my goal for 9.5 years, right? So I've mastered this art of connection, communication, and even further developed in that area. But in 2021, I started my podcast, and I actually was kind of exploring podcast topics. And
Okay.
so I was like, what can I talk about? What's anecdotal to my life, right? You know what I mean? Where's my anecdotal experience lies? And I started breaking down my story, man. And for anybody, who's thinking about starting a podcast, do it. I truly believe that your story has the power to change someone's life. And I actually reached out to Jill from Sober Power to get a podcast review. Like, hey, I'm starting this podcast, put this out. Da, da, da. How can I improve? I'm obsessed with development. Right? How can I improve? And it's so beautiful. Jill and I, she actually coached me a little bit on what I could do to the podcast, do this, do this, do that. I was like, dope, exactly what I needed. And one, that developed a relationship and a friendship, but two, that's where I started tapping in with the sober community. And it wasn't ever off of like what's going on, but it was more of how can I add value to the sober community.
Okay. And how can you, or how are you adding value to the sober community?
How am I adding value to the sober community? You tell me, what can I do for you? What can I do for you?
Mm.
Making myself available, right? And giving 120%. Right. I think in order to add value to people, we have to think of ways to add value to people. We have to look for ways in the situation to add value to people. We have to do things to add value to people, because if we just think about it and we just look for it, we still got to do it, right? We got to do the things. We also have to encourage other people to add value to people. And what that value can look like is showing up for a conversation, doing a podcast, making an Instagram post, being authentic, showing somebody you, right? Helping develop somebody else. So it's really just like, I wake up every day and I ask myself, how can I add value to the world? But in order to add value, and this is a lesson, this is the whole leadership talk that I do, but anybody watching this, you're so smart, you can get it in 1 minute. In order to add value to somebody, the law of the mirror offers, we have to see value in ourselves in order to add value to ourselves. And then once we add value to ourselves, the world will raise the value on us, right? Because if we enter the world at an elevated place, the world will instantly lower you. But if you enter the world at a lower place, the world will instantly elevate you, right? So what is the best place to influence and lead? From a place of servitude. I believe I exist to lead from generosity and unconditional love, but follow with care and understanding and add value everywhere I go.
Mm. I like that, bro. I like that. Um, I you touched on it, but I had, like I said, I haven't really even had to ask questions because you've been answering everything, which is good. Now, let me see. I think I'm gonna skip that. Let's see. So man, you got me good. So what does it take to keep you sober each and every day? Like what are some of those affirmations you tell yourself each day?
Man, I got a whole catalog of them. Don't touch my mindset. I got a whole catalog of affirmations, man. The biggest thing, man, is who would benefit from me becoming the best version of me? Who would benefit
Mm,
from me becoming the best version of me? That's what keeps me going. Because to a point, it has to be done for more than just me.
mm,
Because think about anytime you have to take somebody to a doctor's appointment, have to go meet somebody for lunch, have to go meet somebody for breakfast, right? You were on time because you respected their time, right?
mm.
Right? If the alarm clock hit a little early, how many times have we hit the snooze button for ourselves?
Yeah.
100%. So I have to think, who would benefit from me becoming the best version of me, and that's what.
Mm. I like that one. Now, let me see. Let's see. How are you carrying the sober message?
Oh man, you tell me. You tell me. I don't like. I don't. I know. I tell this to everybody that who knows me in the sober community, because like the sober community isn't where I try to profit and make money, and I literally just add value. That's my passion project. What I do for work is I help emerging leaders manage destructive emotions and habits so they can achieve their goals, dreams, and grow their business. Right. But when it comes to the sober community, it it's the fact that I bring leadership and character development to them, and so I don't beat the sober drum. I don't. What I beat is become a better you, and you can have more because you can become more. Right? If we want more. We don't want to drink. We don't. That life doesn't serve us more. What do you want? I don't think we need motivation. I think we need clarity. Because when motivation leaves, we need to know the next step.
Yeah. Because, yeah, like I said, because, especially, it's kind of, how do I put this in the most clearest terms? Like getting sober for me was like something that I never imagined. You know what I'm saying? Because of the fact of I was so used to drinking, and I started drinking at a rather young age. And so this is all new to me. These last 6 years and 3 months it's just all new. Every day I wake up, I'm like, okay, holy smokes, I'm still sober, but let's keep going. You know what I'm saying? Because it's different. It's not the most easiest. It hasn't been the most easiest time, but it's also that time for me to learn about myself that I didn't know when I was drinking, because I didn't want to think about those things. And so now it's like, okay, I don't get upset. I don't let those things, piss me off like it was if I was under the influence. Now it's like I said, I build up that tolerance, that patience to where I didn't have before. Now, before I was in your face, now I'm like, yeah, okay, you keep that stuff over there, because I don't want, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to bring out that person anymore. You know what I'm saying? So, but now this one right here is kind of a tricky question, but having having two black men have this discussion about sobriety is, to me, it's the ultimate, because the generation before us wasn't schooling us on what we're talking about today. You know what I'm saying? And we can't blame them, but we can take from that. Okay, you were okay with giving us the best basketball and football stats, but you didn't tell us that, okay, these things can happen to you if you continue to drink, if you continue to indulge in drugs or whatever. These are the ramifications. I wasn't told that, but I don't know how it was for you. But for us to have this discussion openly about, how it is, making the mistakes and going to jail or going to prison, giving up something that may have held you back, to now it's like, okay, life is totally different. Now, people might say, oh, the zero of drugs and zero uses of alcohol is one way, but now it's like, okay, you're talking about something that the average person's not talking about. They're not talking about sobriety. They're not talking about these things. They're not talking about how life can be if you just give it up. You can truly work on yourself. That time you spending with yourself, drinking and doing drugs, you could be, like you said, putting together a business, plan or something like that, because your time was being spent on something else. But now, like I said, for me, like I said, I don't work, so I can focus on me. Not everybody can say that, but I can. But I guess for me, it's just, this conversation needs to be talked about on a regular, because, like I said, I've said it in past podcasts in terms of how you go to the hood, there's a liquor store on every corner. You go to the suburbs, you got wine shops, but so it's like you're holding back one group of people, but allowing it or saying that it's okay for another. And so for us to have a conversation like this, and hopefully somebody that's, you know, younger than both of us will be able to understand that those mistakes you make have repercussions. And what do you want? Do you want your freedom, or do you want to be behind these bars? Because these are the things that's going to keep you behind bars if you keep making those same mistakes. It's on you.
No, I agree. You said it all. You said it. What else can I say? I'm not here to talk the talk. You have the information. You know,
I just, you know, I just thought I'd hit that.
that's real.
And
That's real. Cause and that's the thing, man. Cause with those who raised us, and with me, you, whatever generation, they did the best they could with the knowledge that they had.
mhm.
That's it. We can't hold them. We can't hold them to that, bro. They human.
Yeah.
They human. We human. We done made mistakes. They made mistakes. We all make mistakes. So if we hold somebody to the mistakes that they make, who are we?
Mhm.
Now we judge juror and execution. We get to decide who's right or wrong, and cut them out, bro.
Yeah.
That don't sit right to me. So what? I mean, it's the same thing of like looking at racism, bro. There's a thing called racism out there. And I live in America, and I'm black, and it exists. But I'm not gonna cry.
Yeah. You know, at a different time in life, I would have been out here. Like I said, now as long as you ain't taking money out my pocket, I ain't tripping.
I went to jail because of me, not them, not him, not her, not them. I went to jail because of me. I walk with that, knowing that my actions determine my future.
I like
so
that.
I have to be the change that I want to see. Words of Gandhi, not me, right? And it's the fact that us having these conversations as black men is going to reach another black man, that's going to reach another black man, that's going to reach another kid. That's why I do leadership development, because it ain't just the substances when it comes to black men. It's the thought process that we're worthy enough. Well, I just had a son January 5th. I'm breaking limiting beliefs that I didn't even know I had just because I'm black, just because of what's been put on me, right? I'm going outside of who I naturally am just because of these limiting beliefs that I didn't even know I had. Now I got to unlearn and relearn who I am as a father, as a black father. You know what I mean? So it's like, yo, no, yeah, sobriety, absolutely important. This isn't the fruit of it, though. Alcoholism isn't the fruit of it. It's the result of it. It's the result of it, whatever it may be. Because for me, it was resentment, pride, not being loved and abandoned. That's what it was. And so I turned and searched and tried to find validation for those four things within alcohol and other people. 100%. And 9 times out of 10, most of the people that I've worked with on the alcohol side, whether professionally, on a partner side or on a client side, it's the fact that it's the result of something. It ain't the fruit of it. The fruit is that in the good book, I read the good book. I do read the good book, and I believe in the good book. Is that I read somewhere that it said when I was a child, I thought like a child, I acted like a child, and I spoke like a child. But when I became a man, I put childish things down. Nobody taught me to make that shift to a man.
I like that. Nobody taught you. Man, I think that's a story of a lot of men over the last 20 to 30 plus years. Like, to be honest with you, like that's some real shit right there. I don't even cuss on my own podcast, but I'm gonna say that today, like, for real. Like, real talk. So all right, now let me see. All right, before we get out of here, I usually have like one random unique question. And so I'm gonna do. I noticed this in some of your pictures. All-time favorite sneaker.
Oh, Jordan 3, retro, baby,
Okay.
retro Hall of Fame.
I'm Oh, big shouts out to Michael Jordan. Birthday today. Hit 60. I'm an 11s fan.
Okay.
I'm nothing but 11s. I was mad today that some Jordans came out that it was supposed to be in the women's. It was a women's size. Nike backdoored all the large sizes, like all the men's size equivalent to an 11, 12, and 13, all got taken off their website like a couple of days ago. So they announced that they were going to have big sizes they were going to allow men to buy them and stuff. Nah, but then they had them on StockX for like astronomical prices at that
smell
point.
of fatherhood, man. That's the question. Yeah, the smell of fatherhood. Sorry, I'm just answering that question because that's funny. Because I always ask people if your sobriety had a smell, what would it be, right? And because it triggers emotions, thoughts, memories. But the smell of fatherhood, man. Spoiled milk, and not because I'm always feeding the baby, like having the baby, but it's the fact that like the baby needs the milk, right? But it's not those emotions that come with fathering not always the best. You got to put yourself aside to put this other person first that you love so much. So you need the milk, but sometimes it could be a little spoiled.
Okay, I got. Let me see. Now, see, we not since you took it to a bigger spectrum, so I don't even want to address the question as sobriety. So we'll just as an overall personal development. You know what I'm saying? So if you could pass on a message to those that are watching currently or those who will be watching in the future, what would be something you can leave them with as far as the mindset, change, I would say the mindset and actually spending that time of getting to know yourself in sobriety.
Don't be afraid of the dark because what you don't heal, you will repeat.
That's real. That's real right there. Let me see. All right. Let me see if I missed anything before we close this out.
I'm an open book, brother. I'm an open book.
All right. So you mentioned the podcast.
Yep.
What's the name of the podcast and what exactly you got going on as far as with that and when you inviting me on the show?
Absolutely. So we got Don't Touch My Mindset closing out season 4 right now. Season 5 will be back. I don't know when. Stay tuned. But if you haven't heard my podcast, you can catch it on Spotify, Apple, YouTube now. We're going to start uploading video podcasts to YouTube now. We are the #1 mindset podcast to follow in 2023. So follow Don't Touch My Mindset. Listen to us. Give us a chance. What we really focus on is tools, tips, and tricks. But most importantly, we want to help you maintain that positive mindset you've worked so hard to get.
I like that. I like that for sure. Well, Jay, man, I appreciate you coming on the podcast. I know we can definitely chop it up a whole lot more because you definitely got some real strong, powerful insight on a lot, man. And I respect that to the utmost, man. Like for real. Like to me it's always good to see somebody who looks like me in the sober community and that's doing it because of the fact that it's not something that when I open up my Instagram or my Facebook that I see on a regular basis. So whenever I do see those that look like us, I'm reaching out. You know what I'm saying? Because I want to, form a relationship because I think that this is what we need is more brothers. I'm not nothing against knocking the women, but just the fact that you got brothers that's like openly I don't know who that is. That one's Lori.
Oh, that's my girl, Roy B.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate the compliment. But yeah, it's just a matter of like being able to get together and just have a conversation as if we was just chilling in a barbershop or something on just bed topics, because it's important these days that we speak out loud and don't have a problem with whatever may have came from our past, because our past is not what we are today and where we trying to go tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? And that to me is what it's all about. And that's why I got into the game as far as the sober community, is just trying to meet as many people as I can and be able to take something from the people that I'm interviewing. And that's why I have as many people on here, man, because I want to pick brains and find out, you know what I'm saying, like what works for you, you know what I'm saying, and then how can it help somebody else if it doesn't help me myself. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to say thank you, bro. I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you sharing some really, really true gems. I hope you guys took something from tonight's podcast. We'll be back at it again tomorrow and Sunday. This is a triple header this weekend as far as podcasts. Look forward to seeing a lot more of 12 Faces of Sober. I got a lot more free time, so I'm looking forward to doing more interviews. So, like I said, if you guys want to be on the podcast, hit me in the DM, and like I said, we could set it up and make it happen. But once again, Jay, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you, man. I appreciate you, and I know for sure we'll definitely be doing some work in the future.
Absolutely, absolutely. Like I said, I can't wait to have you on my show. When we get up in season 5, check out Don't Touch My Mindset. Check out thejchase.com if you guys are interested in any leadership development. Hit me in the DMs. Hit me in the DMs. Drop in the comments if you're watching this now. If you're watching this on the replay, drop in the comments the biggest takeaway, man. Let us know that we're doing our job. All right. I love you guys. Thank you for having me. Truly, truly a blessing, man. I appreciate you, man. Appreciate you.
All right, bro, man. You have a good night, man.
Oh, you too.
All right, bro.